Yo, what's good, it's your boy Reviews, and it's been a while since I last talked about JJK. After watching all 3 of these episodes, the one thing that came to my mind is, does anyone in this series stay dead? This is the second character who supposedly died in the past, but now is sort of brought back to life. But it's different, because in Toji's case, when Ino was fighting the grandson and the grandmother cursed spirits on the roof, the cursed spirit's grandmother took the body of Toji and implanted her grandson's cursed spirit energy into Toji, but now it looks like the soul of Toji's body is taken over and it looks like Toji is back to normal. So it looks like this dude is going to potentially fight his own son later on in the episodes, maybe. But I felt a bit mixed about it. I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting and surprising, but at the same time, I feel like this show is just coming up with ways to just bring back dead characters. First Gato and now this guy. But it is what it is. But the episode Dull Knife really showed us why Nanami is one of the top dudes at Jujutsu High. Nobara really shined. She really fought hard against Haruto, but it wasn't enough. That shot of her being kicked or smacked in the face and you just see the skull and then it cuts to an x-ray of her skull cracking or something like that was a little bit unsettling to watch. As well as the scene of Haruto just stabbing Nita's leg over and over again. It was a little gory. This season is really gory compared to season 1. And then you have our boy Nanami just strutting. I mean, this dude's just strutting towards Haruto. He has no fear in his eyes. He's just walking towards him with full confidence. And he says the same question about 2 or 3 times. The first time he says it, what's the number and location of your allies? He says it with a little bit of ease and he's really calm about it. But every time Haruto doesn't reply or respond, he gets angrier and angrier. And oh boy, this dude is a menace. I mean, there are some shots of him that look kind of terrifying, and I've never really seen Nanami like this. This dude is pretty jacked. Did he get bigger between seasons 1 and 2? Because I don't remember him looking that swollen before. I mean, he's looking like the Incredible Hulk in this shot. And Haruto, even he doesn't want to face this dude. I mean, he even starts crying and all that. And then Nanami does something a bit surprising. I thought when Nanami was going to attack him, he was going to attack his stomach, but instead he smacks his face, which is even more brutal. But then later on in the episode, you see Nanami talking to Nita and she's sitting down on the chair and I'm like, is she okay? Like, she just got stabbed in the leg like 3 times. Should she be sitting down like that? I mean, I guess anime logic, and just felt like a little bit of a plot hole. She was just stabbed and now she's okay. I'm starting to find the flashbacks more interesting than what's actually happening in the present. In one of the previous episodes, you saw a flashback of when Gojo was born, and then you see him glaring at the cursed spirits, and then they're sort of freaking out and panicking. They don't go into too much detail, but I found that whole sequence of events to be really fascinating. They talk about how the day Gojo was born, so many things started to change, and how cursed spirits were growing stronger over the years because of Gojo's birth. It looks like cursed spirits are drawn to this kid. I'm just wondering, is there some sort of connection between the Gojo clan and the cursed spirits? But the episode that came out yesterday, which is titled Red Scale, was a visual treat to watch. It's pretty much Chozo being pretty damn mad at Itadori Yuji for murdering his 2 brothers, who I assume were cursed spirits in the previous seasons. And I love how they chose to fight in the underground of the subway. With all the neon billboards and lights just sort of reflecting on the characters' faces, it really makes for a visually dazzling fight sequence. I think this might be one of the best directed episodes of JJK, and I think that is mainly due to the fact that the music is so good in this episode, as well as the sound effects. It feels like a musical in a way, just the way the action and the sound effects all blend really well together alongside the music. It really does sweep you away, like the scene where Itadori and Chozo are just standing off and then it's really quiet and then the music's just starting to gear up, and then as soon as they start charging at one another, the music starts to get really energetic and hyperactive. You feel like you're on a roller coaster just watching this, and I'm very happy that there was a sequence where they were fighting and there was no dialogue at all. There was no exposition, there was no inner monologue. It was just raw MAPPA animation at its best, and I loved it. I wish JJK did that more often, because one thing that I'm really not liking about this season is that I feel like the exposition is a little bit too much at times. Like, they over explain certain things, such as certain characters or techniques. and I don't really mind that. But when you do it in the middle of a fight, it kind of ruins the momentum, and it's times like these that make me almost want to watch this show in English dub because I can watch the action while having the exposition play on. I think it's the subtitles, it kind of distracts me from looking at the beautiful visuals. Towards the end of the episode, something pretty bizarre happened. Chozo starts getting these memories of him, someone else, and Itadori all eating spaghetti, and he talks about how these are memories that don't exist. It's a bit weird. Are these like future memories? Is Itadori going to befriend these cursed spirit dudes? Or maybe it's some sort of alternative multiverse, wibbly wobbly timey-wimey thing. Or maybe Chozo has a deeper connection to Itadori that he just doesn't realize yet. My main theory is that throughout the episode, Chozo goes on and on about how Itadori killed his brothers and how he is going to be a proud big brother to his brothers. And then when we see this scene, you see a dude and Itadori, and I'm just wondering, is Itadori some sort of long lost relative of Chozo? Maybe he's a cousin, or maybe a long lost brother. That was the first thought that came to mind when I saw this flashback or flash forward memory thing, but a very visually appealing episode. I'm liking how these past few episodes have been focusing on certain characters, so they have all felt like isolated episodes. Last week's episode was about Nanami and Nobara, and this episode is mainly about Chozo and Itadori. Kinda like it when episodes focus on certain characters instead of flashing back and forth to other characters. And so well animated this episode was, there was a shot of Sukanu that visually looked very silhouette-y. It was just red and dark grey. It looked like a comic book. It sort of reminded me of one of those Bleach openings with like the blocked colours and black shading. But in the previous seasons, whenever we went inside Yuji's head and we saw Sukanu, it was always really detailed and you saw a lot of reflections and highlights, but this time it looks very toony. I mean, visually I like it, but it's very visually different to the previous seasons. Were they trying to save time and try and simplify this scene, or was it just an artistic choice? I don't know, but either way, I like it. But what do you think of this shot? Overall, I like the episode. Visually, narratively, it's very simple. It's just the gang trying to find a way to rescue Gojo and to stop these cursed spirits and all that jazz. But overall, these episodes were phenomenal, particularly the recent episode that came out yesterday. I will give this episode an 8 out of 10, and I think I'll give it an A. I am liking the direction of this season when it comes to how it's visually telling the story. But tell me in the comments down below what you guys thought of these episodes and the recent episodes. Do you like them? Do you hate them? Like for more JJK reviews and all that anime jazz. Thanks for watching. Boy Do The Review signing out.